So I still mix English and Thai here and there. So I told her that, okay, I will keep it here ก่อนแล้วกันนะ And I was like,
I remember, I think I told my friend as well, do you wanna go eat out หรือเปล่าล่ะ something like that.
right?
And then
From the maybe 5 to 7 minute video clip that you watched, behind the scenes was made probably 70 pages of the information that we had to go through.
a lot of people in my life and also a lot of young people out there really feel pressure of having to find the right path, the right job.
I totally understand that. It's because, the pressure that the society put on them. Like, what do you want to be when you grow up? Do you want to be a doctor? How are you going to succeed? Do you know about cryptocurrency?
Before we begin, I hope you dear viewers and listeners forgive us for any grammatical and language mistakes made in this talk. Even though we want to try our best to perfect it, what's most important for us is to get the message across. So we try not to be held back by the fear of making some mistakes. Thank you for your understanding. Now, let's jump right in.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the amazing and inspiring พี่สุชิงค่ะ Yay!
Yay! Hello!
I'm ecstatic พี่สุชิง like my heart is beating
Me
like
too.
So, shall we get right into it?
Yes, definitely.
Alrighty. So first of all, you already know I'm a big fan of you, but for
Thank you.
people watching this right now, can you please introduce yourself a little bit and maybe tell us a little bit about what you're working on right now?
Okay. My name is Sushing. I have been calling myself a tech journalist for the past 12 to 13 years. So even though I am online 100%, I still call myself that. So I'm a tech journalist, a tech columnist. I have my channel on YouTube. So that's pretty much what I do. I still talk about technology and I love learning English.
And we have been following a lot of things and found a lot of great technologies that we never heard before. And in a way that's really easy to consume, right? I feel like I consider myself like really dumb when it comes to technology. But
No, don't say that.
But watching you makes me feel like, oh, I know a little bit about something like that. And you made it so easy for people to understand tech. So thank you for that. So now, since we kind of teach English on Farang Angmo, so I would have to ask this. What 3 English words would you choose to describe yourself?
You know what? That's a very hard question. Usually you let other people describe you, right? So you let your family say what kind of person you are, or maybe your friend to call you. So I think I had a very hard time coming up with the 3 words that could describe the way I am. But if I have to, then the first one that came to mind was private. I think that's the word that I would use to describe myself. And I think it sounds pretty weird to, considering I'm doing what I do and I call myself private. But that's the way I feel. I think that's part of who I am. Attentive, maybe. And the last one would be thoughtful.
Wow. That's great choice, actually.
Really?
It seems like of course you really know yourself well. Would you like elaborate a little bit on attentive and thoughtful?
Attentive, I pay a lot of attention to what I do. I always want everything I do to come out almost perfect if I can manage. I like to put a lot of attention to the people that I'm with, to the things that I'm doing. And thoughtful is I often think about other people's feelings. And I think sometimes it's way too much. I think I care way too much about what other people think. And that sometimes comes in handy and sometimes can also be the thing that hurts my feelings. So I can't always say that thoughtful is, a good thing about myself. but that's definitely part of the way I am.
Absolutely. Going back to private a little bit, which is really
Okay.
fascinating because you of course you communicate to the public, and of course you have a lot of fans from around the world, I believe. How is it like? Is it contradicting to what you do? Is it helping you in what you do? Can you elaborate more on that?
I feel like every time when I want to talk about my life, I often pause and ask myself whether I'm comfortable sharing this information or this part of my life. So if I want to
Yeah.
vlog around my house or showing what I eat, what I do every day, I usually feel very strange doing that because I feel like I'm a very private person. So I have to like
Mm.
carefully pick which part of myself that I can present to the viewers. So when the viewers say that they want me to do more vlogs, that's the comment that I hear constantly. I usually think that I want to do it, but then when I think about having to talk about my private life so much, showing where I live, where I sleep, um,
Mm.
I don't know. I just feel like that there are a lot of things that I would like to keep private, to keep to myself. That's maybe
Mm.
why I call myself private, because otherwise the viewer would have seen like every angle of my life already by now.
Right.
Yeah. Mhm.
I think that's something that we have also noticed, and I'm with you on this
Really?
totally. Yeah. But I'm not sure if I feel like you definitely focus on making the content for the people to learn more about something.
Mhm.
Which doesn't necessarily, and some people might argue again this that, oh, you need to be like you showing all your lifestyle, you fully open and talk about your life all the time on your channels. But is it
Mhm.
necessary? Do you think it's necessary to making a successful content?
Probably not. Not for everybody. We have moved into our new house, and other content creators would have already filmed their home tour video clip.
Yeah.
That's what the people on YouTube love so much, and we already know that. We know that this is the kind of content that people love to watch on YouTube,
Mm.
and we are happy for those who create this kind of content and receive such great feedback. But me and my husband, we sat down, we talked about it, and we are both pretty private people. So we talk about, yeah, filming some part of the house, but we are not going to do a home tour because that's like way too private.
And it's really good to really know yourself that, okay, I'm this person
Yeah.
and this is the kind of content I want to create. That's amazing.
And you just have to accept that. I mean, in my experience, I used to many times try to do something that was way out of my comfort zone. I thought
Mm.
that it would be something like an exploration, go outside my private zone. But then I
Yeah.
ended up knowing myself more by making mistakes, doing things that made me feel uncomfortable. I ended up not liking it and not feeling great about it. So I learned my lesson. I know that, okay, this is not the kind of things that I want to do. Moving forward, I would try to find other things that suit me better.
And that's how you know your limit, right? You gotta
Yeah,
explore
you
and
got to
explore.
try a little bit, and then you feel a little bit uncomfortable, then you can step out, maybe reevaluate everything and then just move on.
Now, since you already mentioned about comfort zone, right? And I
Mhm.
think this will be really fascinating to talk about. I would probably have to walk everyone back to the very start of your learning English journey because I'm pretty sure people listening to this, พี่ซูชิงพูดภาษาอังกฤษเก่งมากเลยค่ะ so I think they definitely curious. So may I ask a little bit about your education background and how
Mhm.
did you start to learn English?
My only experience learning English outside Thailand was when I was an exchange student 22 years ago. I was an AFS exchange student. I was sent to Canandaigua, New York. If you have seen this video clip on the Spin Nine channel, taking the viewers back to where I used to live in the US, yeah, that's where it all happened. And I only spent a year, but I would say that I pretty much practiced English on my own even before that. I was the kind of student, the kind of kid who would just go to the library and just sat there reading English children books like all
Wow.
day. I would try to go over the words that I don't know, like looking at pictures, trying to understand the English words that I never learned before. And I think that gave me a great joy, just reading English books by myself. And I still have that habit growing up. But the whole year that I spent in the US taught me a lot, not about speaking English, surprisingly, but about life in general.
So that's where your start. But of course, this interest
Mm.
in learning English was way before you went to the States, right?
Yeah, way before that. What actually drove me to take an exam and try to get that scholarship.
Were you able to already speak and communicate in English fluently
Not really.
before?
I was like, I was still confused between like he or she, her or him. I did
Ah.
not speak good English at all, but I remember that I took this exam for 3 years in a row, right? So for the first time, what made me actually do something about it, apply for the scholarship, was when I saw one of my friends who came back from the same scholarship from the US as well. And
Mhm.
I could see how the experience had transformed her. She
Mm.
had become a totally different person. I remember her being like pretty confident already, but when she came back and she came to the classroom talking about her experience in the US, and I don't know. She was just so confident and beautiful. I was just like sitting there looking at her, and I feel like, oh my God, I want to be like that. I don't want to be this shy,
Mm.
uninteresting girl. I want to be like her. That's how I felt. And I knew that she mentioned that this is what the 1 year experience, being an exchange student, did for her. So I just thought
Mm.
that, okay, I had this opportunity and I wanted to grab it. So I
Mm.
took the exam. The reason that I said 3 years in a row was because the first time I did not pass it at all. The second time I got a scholarship, but then the foundation said that I was too young to be sent to the US, and they offered to send me to other countries, like Japan. But then I thought
Mm.
that I really wanted to learn English. So I took my chances. I took the last exam. If I missed that one, I would have missed the whole opportunity because I would have been too old. But yeah, fortunately, I got it.
Yay!
Yay!
Finally. But the persistence is really, really important here.
I
Now, may
really, really wanted it.
so that was the first time you ever went abroad and you went on
Yes,
your
and to be apart from my family as well.
own. Oh my goodness. So that's a big, big, big deal for someone who's like 16, 17.
Yes, and I was this awkward kid from another province, เป็นเด็กต่างจังหวัด and I didn't have
Oh.
any confidence at all going to the US, and I had a lot of culture shock, being there and trying to get myself to have more courage to speak out, to tell people what I want. And that's why I told you that the exchange student year was not about learning English as much as learning more about life and being on my own.
Absolutely. Talking about the lessons you have learned about life and things while you were in the States during the
Mhm.
exchange program, what would you think that these were the biggest struggles while you were there that you
Uh-huh.
have to deal with and maybe learn a lot of lessons?
I think it would have been how to put myself out there more. As
Mm.
I mentioned that I am a private person, right? I have always been. And back then I was one of the, like typical Thai student who didn't really want to raise my hand. I didn't want to ask any question. I just wanted to sit in the classroom listening to other people talking. But um, I just thought that I wanted to change myself. I wanted to step out of my comfort zone. I wanted to talk more, to express myself more. And I was not very confident about how I looked, how I spoke
Mm.
English. Back then, I was like this awkward kid who didn't even know how to dress. I would just randomly put on clothes that did not match and just walk to school.
I'm still
So
that kid.
I am still that person actually.
I am currently canal status.
Yeah, I feel like everyone has that kind of experience, from time to time. Even until now, I'm almost like 40 years old, and I still feel like when I'm in a in a strange environment, if I am in the area that I don't know much, I don't have the courage to just go into the store, talk to people. And this is something that always confuses my husband. He never actually knew that before, and I told him that when I came to Bangkok the first time for my first job, right? I lived by myself, and when I came back to the apartment every day, I just feel like I didn't want to talk to people. So I ended up not going to restaurants at all. I just bought something, simple like som tam from the from the entrance of the apartment, and just took it up to my room and just ate there by myself every day. That's what I did every day, because I felt like it was so hard to talk to people. I didn't want to go talk to the seller and tell her what kind of dish I want. I just felt like it was so difficult to express myself, and I have always been that kind of person. That's why I struggled during my exchange year. I couldn't make a lot of friends because I was way too shy to talk to people. I just thought like, oh, I'm not that interesting. Nobody wants to be my friend. That's
Oh.
my kind of thinking that I really wanted to change. So that's what I struggle with. And I think English was the second one.
I see. So, did you feel like you had your way to overcome that during that exchange year of overcoming
Mhm.
that shyness, or maybe that feeling that, oh, I don't want to go out and talk to people?
Gradually, I didn't actually realize that until I came back to Thailand, and
Oh.
I saw myself transforming slowly, a little bit at a
Mm.
time. But I gained a lot of confidence being in the US for a year and then came back. I think partly because I improved my English and I felt like I learned a lot during my year. So I think that would have been my turning point. I had more courage to speak out or to be in front of the class, to speak on the stage. It used to be something that scared me to death. I think it's still that way for a lot of people.
Wow,
Public speaking is not easy.
we definitely have to talk about that in detail. But let me go
Yeah.
revisit the point that you said. The second one,
Okay.
of course, it takes courage to go talk to people already in your native language. Now it's even
Mhm.
worse in English, right? And you said that you, before going to the States, you were still like, oh, there are a lot of confusing things. You might not be too confident to speak English. I'm
Mhm.
curious, is there any like funny mistakes or maybe funny story of you trying to communicate or in English, or maybe not in English
Uh-huh.
but adapting to the culture?
Yeah, I think the only thing that I could remember was the first month that I was there, and then my host sister and I we went to Six Flags, like an amusement park, and I
Mm.
wanted to say something to her, but then back then my brain wasn't really wired to speak English solely, so I still mix English and Thai here and there. So I just told her I wanted to tell her that I wanted to put some of my stuff in the backpack before we went on a roller coaster or something. So I told her that, okay, I will keep it here ก่อนแล้วกันนะ And I was like, what did I just say? And she was like, what? What was the end of the sentence again? It happened. It's just like when I learn Chinese as well, I tend to
Mm.
sometimes put Thai words here and there just because my brain just wasn't ready to handle both languages at the same time. But I believe that a lot of people have made that kind of mistake,
Yes,
just
yes, yes,
combining
yes.
things randomly.
Yes, yes. Talking about your experience, I remember, I think I told my friend as well, do you want to go eat out หรือเปล่าล่ะ? Something like that. And
Right?
then we always do that. We all go through that period. Yeah.
Yes.
So for I think for those, this would be quite inspiring and encouraging for many people out there who is still stuck,
Mhm.
that eventually you will learn the whole pattern of communicating in English somehow.
Yeah, if you get
Um,
laughed at, you're gonna get mad for a while, but then you will never make the same mistake again. Like I wanted to say expensive to my host sister, and then I said expensive or something like EGG, like this is very expensive. And she was like, "What did you
ah.
say?" And she laughed at me for like 5 minutes straight. I did not think that it was that funny, but she definitely did. But that's something that I would never say wrong again. So that kind of thing happened a lot, and I actually thank her for correcting me. It's better to correct me on point than to just let me make that mistake over and over again just to be nice.
Oh, yes, absolutely. This is like amazing point, because
Mm.
sometimes if you go through that, obviously you remember that better and you would never make that mistakes again. And that's really
Exactly.
important to have someone to like us enough or kind to us enough to actually help us
Hmm.
improve in the long run, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Definitely have to talk about this, because what you just shared with us literally contradict to what we have seen you. Of course, like
Really?
um a lot of things. I feel like me, maybe at least for me, we have seen you in the spotlight,
Hmm.
shining, and you speak with, like, when you speak, P Sushing, I can tell you, like it's, there's so much charisma, there's so much energy.
Thank you.
um and then learning just now that you used to be really, really shy. You were not even, how to say, you don't even want to go out and make conversation with people, which was also me. Even, and also many, many people out there who feel like, oh, I would never be able to speak publicly because I don't even want to go, like, sometimes making
Mm.
conversation with stranger is so difficult for me, right? So please tell us, give us the tips and tricks on what was the turning point for a shy girl, someone who's
Hmm.
really who felt really awkward, to become someone who has like outstanding public speaking skills.
I think there's no shortcut. Even though like a lot of gurus might tell you this is the things that you can do and that's the thing that you can do to gain more confidence. You can talk to yourself in the mirror. You can say positive things about yourself or many different methods that you can achieve. But I think practice is the only way you can do it. Um, the first time I went live on TV, on national TV, I got really, I freaked out so much. I was doing the MC with the other friend of mine, with like another male MC. We were doing it
Mm.
together. We had our own script. These are my lines, and these are his lines. But then I freaked out, and I just froze. I couldn't go on anymore. I was so nervous that I almost cried and maybe fainted at some point. So I told him that from now on, can you just please say my lines for me? I will just be right here, standing, smiling, because I can't do it anymore, and I almost cried. That was the
Wow.
first time going live on TV. And he was so strong. He was like, okay, just give me your lines. And I still
Mm.
thank him from until now. But from that point, I know that I had to get more experience. So I practice every day. Every day, I would take the scripts, the anchor scripts that they already used from that day, and then I would take them home, practice by myself, speaking slowly because I tended to speak way too fast. Coming from the
Mm.
southern part of Thailand, um, I spoke way, way, way too fast. And when I started my TV career, that was my comment that I spoke too fast and the audience couldn't understand what I said. So I had to practice every day. So I would say that there are no shortcuts. You just have to practice. If you know that you are not good at public speaking, you just have to try to find as many opportunities as you can to speak publicly because that's the only thing you're
Mm.
going to get better. That's the only way you're going to get better. You can't just get better by talking to the mirror every day. That helps a bit, but unless you are on the stage addressing your audience as many times as you can, then you're not going to get better.
And because I feel like it's a big shift for you from being like someone who's really shy, felt awkward talking to people. It's a huge shift from being this person, and then you decided to do a lot of public speaking, a lot of content creation, of course, being a journalist as well. That's a lot of communication to the public, right? What were the inspiration to take this career path in the first place?
I don't know if I remember exactly what my inspiration was, but then after I started doing it for a while, I felt happy doing it. Even though it really took a toll on me. I would just come home and felt so exhausted. But then when I got to read comments from fans, when I meet people and they recognize me and they have conversation with me, it's one of the perks of being a TV presenter or even a YouTuber now. And I think that's what drives me, to know that people watch me and they can learn something from me. I still reserve the part of me being like an awkward person, for during my free time. So I get all my energy into working. I talk to people, I talk to the camera, but when everything is done, I just switch off. And when I come home, I don't talk to anyone. I don't want to talk to anyone because I feel like I have been talking way too much for the whole day. I just want to be by myself, just read my books and just go to sleep. So in a way, I can remain the person that I am while still, going out there and being in a public space and talking to people. I think you can have them both at the same time, but you just have to, allocate them. This is the part of myself that I want to present to the world, and this is the awkward part that I still am, and I want to keep to myself when I'm home.
I can totally 100%, 200%, 300%
You can relate. Yeah.
So much. I cannot tell you how I'm screaming inside, like, I have met someone who's just exactly. Of course, we see.
See, you have like so much energy right now. But I feel like you have so much energy, but then when you're done working, you might be just like a totally different person. You just want to sit in the corner, being by yourself, and you just want to, when someone want to come and talk to you, just want to raise your hand and say, "Do not talk to me right now, please."
Absolutely, 100%. And that's what I think a lot of misconception of people out there thinking of public speaker or TV presenter, content creator like you, right? Something that to me mesmerizing about you, and I think this is the key to it takes you to where you are right now, right? Is you're aware of the problems, not the problems, but the challenges you have, the struggles that you have. Like, okay, I'm shy. Okay, I'm afraid to talk to people, or like I'm awkward, or I don't really know how to. I got froze and on stage, all these things. But a lot of people choose to avoid that part. Okay, I can't do public speaking very well. Let me run away from it for the rest of my life. And you really choose to like, I can't do this anymore. I need to address the problem. And I think that's really makes you who you are today, that you did not just avoid that. Okay, this is where I have to improve. And you just get right into it to do the work it takes to really improve the skills, right?
Yeah. I don't know. There were so many times that I was so scared of doing things that I never did before. For example, like emceeing for events was something that I dreaded. I did not want to do. I couldn't sleep. Or interviewing people used to be something that I really, really hated. Not because I hated talking to people, but because I couldn't do it well. I felt like when interviewing people, you tend to forget a lot of things in your head. You got inside way too much in your head. I did not have experience doing any of those things, and I dreaded them. But I often told myself that I needed to give it a chance. I had to try, otherwise I would regret it. If I tried and I didn't like it, then it's okay. Then I find another thing that I don't like. And I can ask myself, do I want to continue doing it until I get better, or do I just want to quit? So if I want to continue doing it, that means that I could still find something exciting or something rewarding that comes from doing that. But if I answer myself, no, this is not something that I want to do anymore, I just, even though I am disappointed with myself, I just have to accept it and just move on. Because if I just keep beating myself up for not wanting to do what I hate, then I can't just do anything new. But at least if I give myself a chance to try it before, and then, just kind of like taste the water a little bit. Do I enjoy this? Even like a little bit. If I enjoy it even a little bit, I will just keep doing it. But if I hate the experience, like wholeheartedly, 100% hate it, I just, don't want to do it. Give up, do something else. There are many other things to do.
So what you like, what you actually like to do. And you wouldn't know it unless you try.
Exactly.
100%. What would you consider as the qualities, necessarily qualities of a great communicator, speaker, or content creator?
I would say well-researched information. Being a journalist, that's always the most important. It's more important than how cheerful you are in front of the camera, or how loud you are, how happy you present yourself. The basic, the foundation of good content always comes from correct information. You have to make sure that what you are telling the public is a solid knowledge, good information, and the viewers have to be able to learn something new watching your content. So I think that's the first thing that I keep in mind. Of course, I have made mistakes giving wrong information in the past. You just have to address it, apologize, and just tell yourself that this should not happen again in the future. I think that's the foundation of good content. The rest is just how you present it, how the equipment you choose to use, your camera, your microphone, or the way that you edit your video, or the way you craft your post. If you write it in text, it's different in everyone, but you just have to get your information right from the start.
Let's talk about tech now.
Okay.
From my perspective, I have always seen you as a tech savvy, if you would consider that. So someone who knows and understands really well about technology. Would you consider yourself a tech savvy?
I probably won't call myself that, but I might say something like I'm a tech enthusiast. I think that's more on point, because it's the same thing. That I'm not going to call myself a tech geek or a tech nerd, but I just call myself like I'm a tech reporter, because that's the fact. The rest is just for other people to call me. So yeah, I think I'm curious about technology. I was born into the family that has been in the computer retailing business for the past 35 years. I think that's what started my interest in tech. And that's also how I chose to have a career in tech media as well.
Wow, that's really, really nice. Having explored and updated with so many technological advancement for the past years, and we have seen you with a lot of great technologies, and we were also get a lot of updates from your content, right? I wonder if there's any particular technology or innovation that to you, that is totally mind-blowing, or the most fascinating one to you.
I think you expect to hear something sexy, like if I say something like, oh, virtual reality, metaverse, I expect myself to transform my whole, to upload my mind into the computer and live forever as a machine, that kind of answer is going to be sexy. Like, oh, I want to upload my mind and live forever. But probably that's not something that I think is exciting. But I think it might be boring, but information technology, it's something that enables the world the way it is right now. the ability to get everything, that to find the answer for every question that you have right from on your fingertip. I think that's something that to me is like mind blowing, because I think I have been in the industry for like 12 to 15 years along the line of that. So I see like how technology is changing and has been changing. And I feel like the technology that we have right now, even like smartphone, a computer, the ability to search, Google anything that you would like to know, I think to me that is mind blowing already. I witnessed like the birth of emails and forums in Thailand, and that was like nothing compared to what we have right now. I don't know how to put it in words, but I feel like it enables human like us to be able to learn anytime. That is something that amazes me. If I just sit here and I wanna get like information, if I watch TV and I have like this question just sprang up and I wanted to get the answer, I just grab my smartphone and search for it and I get the answer. To me, that is always something that I find very joyful. It's like, yeah, I have the answer in like 2 seconds. That is so amazing.
It is.
Yeah, so it's a boring answer, but I do think that information technology has changed our lives like significantly more than the metaverse is going to change some people's lives in the future.
Oh wow, that's
Sorry.
actually. Oh, I like it. I like it though, because I was just the other day, like a ghost. Like I was just
Uh-huh.
I was just talking with my mom, and like I think I asked the same thing. Like, have you ever really imagined life without Google search? Like I wouldn't, like, how do I find the direction to this hotel? Like, how do I find the recipe for this menu,
Mhm.
this dishes? Oh, life was
You
unimaginable
can't
now.
imagine. Did you remember the time? I'm not sure if you're way too young to remember this, but remember that when we first had like the digital map, and we wanted to go somewhere and we wanted to get direction, we had to print out the direction on a piece of
Right.
paper. Yeah, there wasn't any like service like Google Maps that gave you like live navigation. You had to print it from home, and that was already
Mm.
very advanced compared to
Mm.
when you had to maybe stop your car and ask people from the side of the road
Right.
if they know the direction. So
Right.
compare that to what we have right now when we can just follow the map, blindly follow the map to get to your
Mhm.
destination. That's pretty amazing.
So it is indeed a great answer to the question
Thank you.
already. Okay. Now you mentioned that one of the great qualities for someone who is a content creator and also communicator is to get your facts right. Right, is to have
Yes.
accurate information. Apart from that, I feel like as one of the audience, one of the many audience watching you and Pi talk about tech, you were able to really make it so easy to understand and easily digestible, even for someone who is really dumb with technology like me. What do you think about what do you think are the secret sauce, yeah,
Mhm.
to make tech content sexy or and easy to understand?
Behind that would be a lot of research.
Mm.
From the maybe 5 to 7 minute video clip that you watch, behind the scenes was made probably 70 pages of the information that we had to go through just to understand the whole picture so that we can make it short and easy to understand. When I was working for the TV station and I had this show that I would go on TV and talk about this particular tech topic. Before that, it was like maybe this thick of a ream of paper that I had to go through to understand everything. So that's the secret sauce. A lot of
Whoa.
reading and researching, because if you don't understand the whole picture, it's impossible to present it in an easy to understand way, right? You first have to understand it. there is no easy way to, there's no easy way going around this.
So there's no shortcut. You need to do the work of understanding
Yeah, I'm
something that
so
you're talking
sorry.
about.
I think like the interview with me is pretty gloomy because I don't have like any any tips and tricks that I can give you, like shortcuts. Do this and then 5 days later you're gonna become successful, or
Oh no.
do this and 1 month later you become like a great presenter. But it takes time and effort to achieve pretty much anything in the world. You can probably
Absolutely.
get like some instant fame on the internet, doing something crazy or doing something that happened to the audience happen to like, but then it's gonna remain forever. You might lose it after a while. You just have to build a strong foundation, and to be able to do that you have to do a lot of homework, research, a lot of reading. For being MC as well, one of the things I always tell people who ask me about like MC tips and tricks is to read a lot, to read everything that you can, even though like it does not have anything to do with your field of work. Let's say, for example, if I usually MC for tech events, of course I read about technology, but I also read about other things as well, because you need that kind of information stored in your brain when something goes wrong, or when you really need to talk about some topics. For example, if I do something like on a live TV, and then usually when like a TV presenter, when they go on live, they have like this little headphone inside your ear
Right,
to
right.
hear what the team says. So a lot of time, what is being said in your ear is you have to stall. You have like we are delay. We have to stall the audience for 5 minutes. Just say whatever that you want to say. Just keep going, don't stop. And that is the hardest thing about being an MC, being a live MC. 5 minutes to talk about something that it's like forever. If you don't have
Mm.
information stored in your brain, like in the drawers in your brain that you can just pull out and use, it's going to be impossible to say anything smart. And you just keep babbling on about things that don't make sense, and you don't want that to happen. Being an MC. So this is why you have to read a lot. Even though like when you read it, you feel like, "Oh, I might not get to use it, or I might not even remember." But then when the time comes, and when push comes to shove and you have to really say something, you'll be surprised at what your brain can do. You just, oh, I read about this, I can talk about this for a little bit, and then after you talk about this, you remember the other thing that you read about, and you just kind of like took that from the other drawer. And
Mhm.
that is something that you need to have, in order to to work in this field. You always have to read and research, just in case you might use it one day.
When you were just sharing, I thought of a quote. I think I'm not sure if it's from Einstein or somebody. They say that if you cannot make it simple, then you probably don't understand the whole picture, or you don't
Yeah,
understand it
that's
very well.
correct.
Mhm,
Mhm.
mhm. So
Exactly.
70 pages of document trying to
Yeah,
understand.
yeah.
Like, wow,
Because
wow,
even though
wow.
like you speak really well, let's say that you speak really clearly and you speak really well, the audience can still see right through you if you don't have the content. Because you would just be speaking, you would just like string words, words after words with no meaning, and audience can absolutely see right through that, and they know that, wow, okay, this person put game, but there is really no content,
I didn't
in
get
what
anything.
he or she is saying. Yeah.
Uh-huh, uh-huh, uh-huh. Wow, that's an excellent point. Now we have come to the question that I've been wanting to ask you so much
Okay.
is as someone who's really keeps up with the technological side of the world, I'm sure there are a lot of people out there who felt like, oh, technology has changed so fast, like it's
Mhm.
so hard to keep up, and then they felt left behind. Yeah, they felt a
Hmm.
lot. I'm pretty sure a lot of people in my life are going through that feeling. What do you say to the people who feel left behind because the world is changing so fast?
I think it's a great start to be feeling that way, because that
Mm.
when you understand yourself, you accept the truth that you are left behind, you can't catch up, and that's a good start. Because the next step is you're going to ask yourself, what should I learn more? What should I read more? And what what do I need to learn more in order to thrive, in these modern days? So I think it's okay to feel left behind once in a while. It's totally okay. You don't need to get the tech update every day. It's not necessary. Just update yourself maybe weekly, or talk to the people that can give you updates, or just maybe read more. But it's absolutely okay to feel left behind. Now that you know it, you can do something about it. You can maybe watch TV, watch more news, or read a little bit more to understand. But I think what you really need to understand about tech pretty much has to do with your everyday life. You need to learn about the tools that you can utilize in your life, in your work, and that's pretty much it. You don't have to learn about how a self-driving car works. You don't have to get yourself into the metaverse. That's the job. That's our job to do it for you. So you just need to learn as much as you think benefits you in your everyday life, and that's it. You're not left behind. And don't pressure yourself way too much. People can learn anything.
Wow, that's a great point. Yeah, the key is not to learn to know literally everything that's going on in
You
the
don't
world.
have to. Yeah. You might
Uh-huh.
need to learn a lot about your job or how to improve your job, but when it comes to tech, you don't have to learn everything. If people talk about, like, let's say NFT or cryptocurrency, and you don't have to use it in your everyday life, then maybe you don't even have to know about it, unless you feel like, oh, this is something that maybe you might want to learn the basic of it a little bit, just learn what they are and what the fuss is all about, and that's pretty much it.
So the key is definitely to focus on how you can make use of it for your career, for your daily life, right?
Yeah,
Absolutely. I must say that you have been a very inspiring role model for many young
Thank you.
people out there, including myself. So I would love to know, how would you define a successful career?
I think, first of all, it's the career that lets you do well financially. You don't have to struggle for that. I think that comes first. It puts food on the table, and you don't have to constantly worry about financial problems. I mean, you don't have to be rich, but you have to be able to earn enough to go by every day. So that's the first thing. The second thing is something that you can live with. I think I often hear people say that they want to look for something that they are passionate about. That, when they wake up in the morning, they feel like that's the first thing that comes to mind. They just want to get up and just go to work happily. It's great if that happens to you, but it gives like this illusion to other people who don't have it, that they need to have it too, and if they don't, they're not successful. I think that's put a lot of stress for everyone. For me, a successful career is you earn enough, you don't hate it, you can wake up in the morning not hating your job. You can just get up, get it done, come home, and maybe do something that you actually enjoy. You don't have to fall in love with your job. I think it's gonna take you forever to search for the job that you love, and you're gonna be under a lot of stress trying to do so. At least if you don't hate it, you can get it done. You like it a certain amount. You can use your free time to find something that you enjoy. Like for me, I like to read, I like to bake. I am a terrible baker, but I still like to bake. Because that, it gives me comfort and it gives me great joy doing so. So that's what I do. So just, it's good if you find passion. If you don't, it's fine. Just try to explore a lot of territory, like just try to do a lot of things to come up with things that you enjoy. But for your career, you don't have to absolutely love it. as long as you don't
Mm.
hate it. And if you have a
Mm.
passion, you have to remember that passion by itself means nothing except for something that you keep inside your heart, and that's pretty much it. But if you couple passion with discipline and maybe persistency, then you can really achieve your dream job. So
Mm.
I'm saying this because people keep talking about passion, and I totally feel that. I totally understand people who don't have passion, because
Mm.
not everybody has the things that they love from the start. It's good that you understand yourself. This is what I love. I love banking. I always knew that I wanted to get into banking. It's good for you, but there are a lot of other people out there who don't know what they like, especially kids and teenagers. Nowadays they feel like they are pressured every time that their parents or teacher asks, what do you want to be when you grow up? When they're so young. So you don't have to answer that right away, but you just need to make sure that you expose yourself to many different things in order for you to arrive to the conclusion that suits you best.
Wow, that's so true, and I agree 100% that so much, including a lot of people in my life, and also a lot of young people out there, really feel pressure of having to find the right path, the right
I
job.
totally understand that. It's because the pressure that the society put on them. Like, what do you want to be when you grow up? Do you want to be a doctor? How are you going to succeed? Do you know about cryptocurrency? Like, I think it's a lot of pressure for younger generation now, that they have to come up with the things that they like when they don't have enough experience or enough exposure. So I think this is something that you need to take time. If you can find that in the end, it's great. But if you don't, you get the job that you like, you can live with, and it earns well. And I
Mhm.
would consider that a successful career already.
Wow, wow, yes, 100%. And of course, you grow from doing things and learning things in your
Yeah,
job
when
as well.
you like doing it, and when you have done it long enough, eventually you would try to find better ways of doing it, and that would lead to improvement on its own.
Absolutely. 100%. Okay. Now, talking about content, being a content creator, yeah, there are a lot of metrics to
Mhm.
measure the success of creating a piece of content online. Some people say it's the views, some people say it's engagement, some people say it's
Mhm.
something else, right? So, as a content creator and also communicator, how do you measure the success of your content? What would be the metrics to say that, okay, this video, this piece of work is successful for you?
For me, from the start, if I want to consider that, consider each content to be successful or not, it comes from myself. I mean, first, do I feel proud making that content after I
Mm.
finish filming, on the editing, and then when I watch it, and I feel like, oh, this is such a good content. You constantly talk to yourself when you watch your own work. Do you feel like, are you proud of what you have made? If I feel proud, if I feel like I have put a lot of effort into doing this, and I think it pays well, I like everything, I think that's already, for me, it's a successful content from the start. But then absolutely, the likes and the views, the engagement will have to count, even though that it puts a lot of pressure as well for the content creators. But that's the only metrics that can be used to measure how successful your content is. But you have to remember that a lot of failed content does not reflect on your quality of work, because you put your content on other people platform, and you don't know what kind of algorithm is being used to drive your content. Maybe you have like this great content that in your heart this is your best work, but you don't have a lot of views. It's not your fault. I mean, you can probably change it a little bit next time that you make your content, improve it, make it better. But then you have to give yourself a break, that this is not your own platform, and this is not your algorithm. It might not be your fault that people are not tuning in as many as you had hoped. But then you can try to always get feedback from the audience as well. So apart from likes, from the views and engagement, sometimes what I use to measure whether I am proud or think that this content is successful is comments or messages that the viewer sent to me privately. A lot of them, I just, I have like big smile on my face reading because, they are being so kind, but they don't leave comments in the public section, but they actually text it to me so that I could read. And for me, I think that's another thing that I use to measure. If I don't have a lot of views, but one person send me a message, a direct message, complimenting me or giving me their thoughts, their takes on the comment, on the content that I made, then I already feel that this is already worth it. I know that it made a difference for someone and it got them to write me a message. I feel like that's already influential enough.
That's really rewarding for from a content creator perspective as well, that you really felt like it has personal impact on them.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it
yeah,
takes
yeah.
work to write down the message and really message you and send it to you privately, right?
Yeah, I think the same goes with when I talked about when I expressed my point of view that was not very popular to the mass, and I became like the target of the online attack or the cancel culture, or in Thai we would call it "ทัวร์ลง." A lot of mean comments are going to be public because that's the emotion of the mass. If the road tour comes, of course that there are a lot of negative comments about you. But then I found that when I was the target, I got many positive messages in my inbox because these people, they don't want to confront the people who are enraged, but they wanted to support me. They wanted to say that they totally agree with me and they understood what I was talking about, what I tried to, like the message that I tried to deliver. And they send me direct messages. I think that's like my, it was something that I value so much.
กำลังใจเนาะ
You
กำลังใจสำคัญ
You understand? Yes, you understand that you can't always have positive comments. And a lot of times, even though you are in the industry for like 10, 20 years, doesn't matter. There are still comments that make you cry. There are mean comments that you can never understand why human would want to put other human, in this situation. Why would you want to make other people feel this way? You can never understand that, but you can change them. But there are always positive comments for you to focus on. And I know that focusing on negative comments is so much easier because, negative comments always like drive you towards those comments. You always see those comments.
It gets in your head.
Yes, and it gets under your skin and it's super hard to get off. But I think the important thing is to focus on the positive comment and to understand that people are not the same. You can't change them, and their comments are just their ways of expressing their own self. It does not reflect the person that you are.
It's more about who they are than who you are.
Yes, yeah, exactly. I don't know how we got to this point, but yeah.
I need that. I need to hear that. Really, I really need that. So thank you.
You got them too, right? Even though like you feel like I'm just teaching English, I'm not hurting anybody. Why would you leave such mean comments?
I think last but not least, since you, I think you have shared a lot of great things for not just young people, but any people pursuing their dreams. So I definitely would love to ask you for your advice for those who are pursuing their, I wouldn't say their dream career, but finding themselves and trying to pursue their dream career right now.
Yeah, try to do as many things as you can. I think that's the only way that you are going to learn more about yourself. How will you learn about what you hate and what you love if you don't do it? So whatever that feels uncomfortable, awkward, to you, try to do it once. Give it a
อื
chance.
ม
Maybe it might turn out to be more rewarding than you had thought. You never know. And if you try it, you don't like it, or you did very poorly, then yeah, that's pretty much it. It doesn't kill you, right? So you learn more about yourself each day. This is what I don't want to do. And this is what I might want to do in the future. Or this is what I might like doing if I do it better, so that you know that you have to practice, you have to improve. But if you don't do anything and you are like in your little zone, thinking about things that you already like, and you don't get to explore new things, you can never understand yourself. So I'd say give yourself as many chances as you can to try new things, and reevaluate every time when you do it. Do you like it? Can you go on? Do you want to move on? Maybe just throw it into the bin. And yeah, that's the only way that you can learn.
Wow, that's this me literally applauding you. Oh my goodness, this is something. It's such a meaningful talk for me, and I'm telling you sincerely, everything that I'm learning from you today is literally what I really need to hear today as like so much boost for the next month and week for me. So yeah, and I'm sure for a lot of people out there watching this, it's also a very meaningful talk. So once again, thank you so much for making your time
Thank you
to be
so
here.
much for having me.
I couldn't be more grateful.
Thank you. And I think we are kind of alike, this is why that we relate to each other so much. And I feel that I can see myself in you, like a much younger version of myself.
But really, I was feeling like when you were saying something about yourself, and I can feel like I was literally, I'm trying not to nod my head so much, but in my inside myself, I was like, yes, that's right. I agree.
Exactly.
I can
good.
relate
Thank you
so
so
much.
much for having me. It is such a good conversation to have as well for me.
Definitely really one of the most inspiring conversation, and to me this is such a revelation that okay, P Su-Shing didn't had it all from the very start. And sometimes when we look at someone who's really, wow, she's so successful, she's so good at what she is doing, sometimes we feel like she had it all together. You have it all together, figure out, but to me, you sharing that, okay, I used to feel insecure, I used to feel afraid.
I am still insecure, actually.
Oh, me too.
And
And
it's
so
okay to
many.
feel that from time to time, right? Don't beat yourself up. I think like feeling insecure, it happens to you. Like you can't expect to get rid of it for your entire life. It's gonna show up once in a while. It's gonna happen. Just give yourself time, pat yourself in the back, and just just heal, and then just get back up when you're ready.
Absolutely. I feel like the fuel that I have from today is not really to find a perfect tips or formula to success, but to me it's clear from you, someone who's really great at what you're doing, is that it definitely takes work to get where you are, and that so much of energy of you is being focused on improvement and learning and growing from the experience that you have. So you always get yourself out there to learn from the experience. And I thank you for that, for being a great example for all of us. ขอบคุณมากๆเลยนะคะ
Thank you ขอบคุณมากเลยค่ะมันเหมือนเรื่องคุยภาษาอังกฤษก็เหมือนกันเนาะแบบเรามาคุยภาษาอังกฤษกันแบบนี้เราก็ยังแบบมี mistake กันตรงนั้นตรงนี้ตรงนี้ก็พูดผิดแต่มันก็ไม่เป็นไรคือเราก็ต้องรู้สึกว่ามันเป็นเราสามารถสื่อสารกันได้ในแบบที่เราได้ฝึกภาษาอังกฤษด้วยแล้วเราก็สามารถทำความเข้าใจกันได้คือไม่เป็นไรที่เราจะมีข้อผิดพลาดในระหว่างทางซึ่งเดี๋ยวพอรู้เราก็จะแบบปรับไปเรื่อยๆคือดีกว่าที่เราจะกลัวว่าแบบโอ๊ยไม่อยากพูดผิดเลยแล้วก็ไม่พูดเลยก็จะไม่มีทางที่จะพูดได้เก่งขึ้นเนาะ
มากๆเลยค่ะมากๆเลยค่ะโอ้วันนี้นี่ก็คือได้ไปจัดเต็มมากๆแล้วก็เชื่อว่าหลายๆคนได้รับแรงบันดาลใจทั้งเรื่องภาษาอังกฤษแล้วก็ในเรื่องการใช้ชีวิตด้วยนะคะขอบคุณมากๆเลยนะคะ
ขอบคุณค่ะ
โอเค Ladies and gentlemen, what about you? What are the lessons you have learned from P. Su-Ching today? Please let us know in the comment down below. วันนี้ได้เรียนรู้อะไรบ้างนะคะจากพี่ซูชิงนะคะเดี๋ยวเรามาคอมเมนต์กันตรงนี้เลยเราจะได้แชร์กันแล้วก็คณะกับพี่ซูชิงจะได้เข้าไปอ่านด้วยนะคะ Alright, thank you so much ค่ะพี่ซูชิง and
ขอบ
thank
คุณ
you
ค่ะ
everyone for watching and listening to our show, and that's it for today. Bye.
บ๊ายบาย
ถ้าได้ประโยชน์จากวิดีโอนี้ชอบเนื้อหาแบบนี้กด subscribe กดไลค์กดกระดิ่งแจ้งเตือนจะได้ไม่พลาดคอนเทนต์ต่อไปของฝรั่งอังมอให้ทุกคนได้เรียนรู้และเก่งขึ้นไปด้วยกันนะคะ Happy learning